What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Detroit Lions' 72nd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. Today, we are talking about a defensive lineman, Alim McNeill. So let's get it started.
We're going to bite a kneecap off, and we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap, and we're going to get up, and then it's going to take 3 shots to get us down. And when we do, we're going to take another hunk out of you. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.
Yeah! He's the GOAT! Oh, there's nobody! Welcome, everybody, to another video. Glad you guys are here. And yes, we're going to be talking a little bit about the defensive lineman out of NC State today at 6'2", 317 pounds. Now, this pick, if you remember my reaction, it shocked me the most because I did not think the Lions would go back-to-back. Well, I don't know if I'm just, you guys know we've been back-to-back defense linemen. I didn't really think we were going to do this. So I was like, what are we doing? However, when I thought about it more, when I started to go through the schemes, I started to understand it more. I see some versatility within this game. I see the pass rushing upside. I also see the explosiveness for his size that makes you excited. Now, we're going to dive into the film in a second, but I quickly just want to give a quick little background on Alim McNeill. Let's run through the numbers quickly, you know, maybe the versatility, some of the strengths and weaknesses, things to watch out for. So this is a 6'2", 317-pound nose tackle out of NC State that mainly played that position, didn't venture far out from that. I think he has enough versatility to line up against guards, maybe in a 3-tech, but I don't think he's pushing out 4 or 5, anything past that, because at 317 to 6'2", he just lacks some of that, change of direction, some of that bend. So I don't think anything out there would probably be the best fit for him, maybe in like very specific situations, maybe like full-on run-stopping situations. But I don't think for the most part that's where you're going to want to put him, unless obviously he changes his body weight. But I definitely can see the versatility of a 2-gap and 1-gapping scheme. He can play both of those as a run stopper and a pass rusher, while also being able to move around a little bit within the inside. This was a linebacker and running back in high school. So this guy did not play this position in high school, which leads to him being slightly raw, because he's only been doing this for 3 years. Now, I know 3 years, it's a pretty long time, but it's not that long. It still is pretty new to him. And when you watch this film, we get into it, you'll see that there are little things in his game that could definitely be improved with good coaching and over time. But there's also things that you love in his game. Motor is outstanding. Play in and play out, and he's giving it everything he's got. But unfortunately, that has a downside. That leads to him getting slightly fatigued. Technique starts to get a little sloppy. He starts to, not be as precise on some of the little things, and that makes him less impactful as the game goes on. However, for the Detroit Lions, the perfect thing is that he should be rotational for the Detroit Lions. Now, when you look at him statistically, I do want to tell you that he had nearly identical amount of hurries in 2020 as he did in 2019. The thing is with Alim McNeill is that the sacks, to me, really don't matter that much. I mean, they're exciting on the stat sheet. They're like, whoa, he had 7. I mean, that makes money. However, it doesn't matter to me that much. We'll see on the film why. His size right now, I don't expect him to improve and expect him to have a huge improvement in the small areas like bend, like change of direction, like some of that finishing acceleration, because of just the size and the way that he's built. However, if he can disrupt and collapse the pocket like we're going to see and be that kind of player when he rotates in, that's good enough for me, because that sets up edge rushers, it sets up linebackers, that makes the quarterback hold on to the ball longer. And all those edge rushers that are all about bend, can I get around the edge? They're going to be sitting there waiting for the quarterback or whoever has the ball, because he's able to disrupt. Look at Alim McNeill's pro day. You'll notice that he was pretty much above average in all the ways. He also had a 4.94 40, which was pretty awesome. It showed that he was above average in terms of explosiveness. Not bad agility for his size either. One big knock, though, was his arm length, his ham size. Those 2 things are definitely on the shorter side. And we'll talk about how he overcomes that with the technical side of his game, with the hand placement, things like that, once we get into the film. But the pro day would definitely help for him, because it was above average in most categories. 27 bench press reps, which was 2 less than Derek Barnes, but it's still above average for the position. Barnes is just an animal. He's a really nice run defender. Like I said, he's versatile, that he can play both a 2-gap and 1-gapping scheme, but his hand placement is outstanding. He has really good leverage, but it definitely wavers as the game goes on because he gets a little fatigued. He played most of the snaps for NC State, but with the Lions, with John Pennicini, Michael Brockers, I mean, you could go through a lot of different names here. He should rotate in and out. Not to say that he, shouldn't start, but he should rotate in and out at least. And if that being the case, if we can get the kind of energy that he brings early in the game, the kind of playmaking that he brings really through the first half of games, when he's on the field, oh goodness. oh goodness. I mean, it's impressive, but he definitely has those dips because there are some fatigue factors that do set in, and it makes him a little bit sloppier with some of his game. Also, I think coachably, like I said, he's a little raw. There's things he can add. Pass rushing moves. It's not the deepest arsenal. You know, some of the counter moves. He's really only got one, and that's a spin, and it's not that clean right now. However, I do like when he tends to use it. He's a smart player. He knows when to use it. In some parts of his game at his size, you probably won't improve greatly, so there are going to be limitations, and that's why people say pass rushing upside is limitation. But to me, all I need is that disruption. I don't need the sacks. I just want the disruption from the inside. If you do that, you're going to set up everybody else. He brings it every single snap. Obviously, he's maybe slightly undersized for the nose tackle position, but he can be impactful in both run plays and pass plays. So let's dive right into this film. I'm going to break it down a little bit there, and then you guys can let me know the thoughts in the comments below about Alim McNeill. So let's get into it. Now let's take a look at some Alim McNeill film here. The nose tackle for NC State wearing the number 29 at 6'2", 317 pounds. We're going to take a look at 3 games from 2020. And I know we're going to look at a lot of similar things as we go through these plays, but I kind of just want to show you what he's all about and why I think there's a lot of hype around this player, while also showing you the raw sides of his game, because he has only done this for 3 years. I know it's not like that raw, but I mean, in high school, playing linebacker, running back, definitely a transition. One thing I want you to keep in the back of your mind as we watch is notice how his play, you know, some of the techniques, some of the little things like that get a little maybe sloppier as the game goes on when he's a little bit fatigued. And you can see that throughout games. He seems to be a little bit less impactful as the game goes on. Now, he did play most downs for NC State, and for the Lions, I expect him to be more rotational. So that's going to definitely help him keep him fresh. Early in games, he's definitely extremely impactful. And we've seen against pretty much every opponent, he's able to be super impactful early. And the other thing you like is that consistently he's able to be impactful. It's not just flashes here and there. So let's get right into this thing and show you some Alim McNeill, the guy that can play all 3 downs for your team. All right, so we have him at the nose tackle position here. You can see NC State's running a little bit of a 3-3-5. You know, they have the extra defensive back on the field, probably for the extra receiver. It looks like more of a tight formation because you have both tackles in between. You have both defensive ends in between the tackles, playing like 4 eyes. So let's just get right into this, okay? Let's take a look. Right, like I said, we're going to see a lot of similar things here. Now, this is early in the game because we're starting early in the game, showing plays early. We're kind of working through. Not every play is in here, but we're starting early in game. So just notice some of the differences. However, we're just getting started here. This is against Miami, and he was on fire early. This play I love to show, and I'm going to show 2 angles of it, is because just watch his get off and how low he stays. A lot of people praise his quick first step, but I started to notice how important pad level, hand placement, those 2 things really are in the trenches. Like, those are so important. And McNeill, at least early in games, he's fantastic about that, and that's what makes him look so dominant, like he's just throwing people around because of those 2 little things. So watch him here, okay? Watch how notice how he stays low. What's about Alim here is how he stays low, okay? He doesn't stand straight up. He stays low and he drives forward right off the snap. Look at that. So he drives forward, stays low, stays with that bend, and because of that, this guard that's going over to help, you know, in this little bit of a zone blocking scheme, doesn't throw him off because he's low, and we're going to notice that a little bit later as well. But then he gets great hand placement. We're going to touch on this so many times, but he gets inside the shoulders. Now, when you get inside the shoulders, just like an offensive lineman, for a defensive lineman, it makes it tough for offensive linemen to figure out where to place their hands, because now they're trying to battle with you to regain positioning, because if they put it on the outside, it's holding. So it's tough for them to figure out where to put their hands, and that's where Alim McNeill shines. Finishing. All right, finishing, just like an offensive lineman, is super important. You have to be able to finish with great hand placement, good leverage, good pad level. He's able to do that consistently. Here he is right here. He's going to show you some power, but then with one hand inside, he's able to reach out and just kind of pull down, and he basically takes that energy that an offensive lineman, especially in a run play because they're going forward, is giving, because it's really tough to move people when you're inside your chest. It's tough because you're kind of out like this, so it's tough. So you're exerting a lot of force trying to hold up. But then, since he's inside, he can kind of just pull down, use that energy against you. You slip, you fall, and there he is standing there and make the tackle. We're going to take a look at one more angle here. And I just think this play is a fantastic way to kick it off, because when he is fresh, you see a lot of plays similar to this. And I think this just shows all phases as a rusher. Quick first step, there's a snap, staying low, hand placement, then the finish. And he's there to make the tackle. That play is just textbook. That's beautiful. I love that play. All right, this next one is very similar. Again, staying low here. Not exactly the same, but very similar. And you can see how quickly he's able to disrupt this play. All right, so here we go. Quick first step again. Very quick first step. Staying low. Notice how he doesn't stand straight up, because we're going to see it later. He doesn't stand straight up. Stays low. Gets inside the shoulders. You can see, look at where the tackle's hands are. I mean, the center's hands are. They're outside. It's tough to block outside because he gets there so quickly with that quick first burst. Then You know, you have that, you have the good leverage, he can just throw him off. He kind of does a little bit of a pull down into a swim move technique. This guard can't help, he's inside, and he blows up the play. Now, he doesn't make the tackle here, but what it does, it forces the quarterback to hold onto this football and roll out with it, and then the icing on top. This is one of my favorite parts of his game. It's the motor. It's always running. He's going to try to make a play even if you don't think he can. Right here, look. Notice how he just chases this down. Now, he's probably not going to catch De'Aaron King here, but he runs it down all the way through, and I love that. Okay, I just love that relentlessness. And talk about relentlessness, that's exactly what I labeled this next play. Now, this is not as clean. Okay, there's definitely things that could be better here. He does get a little bit high, but it's a relentless attack. All right, going against two offensive linemen here. Okay, you're going against the right guard in the center. Notice how quickly he gets inside. Now, he's worried about this defensive end, but he's going to take that to his advantage. He's got one arm. He's going to get inside, and then he hits him with the swim move. He's able to get behind, and then this other guard is trying to pick him up. And just look at this. He's just splitting them. He's just going after it, rip through. He's just fighting, right? Gets a little bit tall there. You'll notice that as game goes on, and that's what really hurts him as an impact player in the backfield. But you can just see relentlessness is always there. One-on-one here against the center. One gapping I think will be very exciting for Alim McNeill if he gets those opportunities with the Lions, because I think he could be even more impactful backing downhill. But here he is. I mean, just look at this. I know I sound like a broken record already, but just notice the placement right here. Watch this. Boom. Quick step. Boom. Right there he is. See how he's inside? All right, gets good inside leverage. And then at that point, he kind of dictate where he wants to move the center. It's all about the little things. And now, see, he's looking, okay, what hole is the running back going to take? I can stand here and wait. Running back decides to cut back. Okay, boom, last second, I can pull off because I control where he's moving, and I can get in that gap and get in that lane. And then he finishes off with the tackle, okay? That was a fantastic play all the way through. But now we're getting into the game, and here's where you start to see some issues like this. And this could be too fatigue, maybe just kind of lapses. Regardless, notice how here, and honestly, you know, there's no running back. Sometimes it's, hey, you're worried about more gapping, you're, you know, controlling your gaps, so you're not as attacking downhill, and you're kind of just holding around. Makes sense. I could see that if that's the role here. It might be. However, he still, though, gets very high. And you can see how he doesn't drive low. Watch how he stands basically straight up. And then he gets up here on the shoulder pads. It's not terrible, but because he is so high, he lacks a lot of that drive. At 317, you're not going to have the best bend. You're not going to have the best explosiveness. The change direction isn't awesome. It does lack some pass rush moves. It's not bad hands, but he's very tall. He's standing literally straight up. And when you're doing that as a pass rusher, there's not much you can do. He's kind of bouncing around outside. And that play, you know, nothing really is able to happen there. So, you know, that's just kind of one of those little things. And this is like another one that we just touched on before, just 2 plays ago. Very similar. I mean, this is, guys, I know it's annoying, but it's the hand placement. All right, he gets right inside, boom. All right, and he's dictating where the center is going to go, and this is why you see him kind of throwing players around. People say, man, he's so strong. He is very strong. But like I mentioned, Derek Barnes had more bench press reps than this guy did. But it's about the little things that he does early, and he does this, boom, and now he's in a position. Oh, okay. I can watch the running back, watch him, and then I can, now he may have thrown off a little bit too early here because he went too early where the running back had an ability to still cut back, but he still took away that option for the running back and forced the cutback. He may have done it a tad too early. Now let's move forward to North Carolina. Early in the game, of course, and early in the game, he's a lot better. So he's going to kind of ride with this, but you can see his placement is really good here. He gets in a good position early in the play. He sets himself up so he can really disengage from this blocker. His length isn't great, so he's got to do these things so that he can disengage. All right, you can see here he gets inside, and he's going right to the pull down. Boom, center loses his balance, and he's there. Now, obviously, Howell gets the ball out quickly, but, I mean, that's what you want. I mean, that's what you want. Here's another great example. Still early in the game, so you're seeing things like this. Boom, there's the get off. Good placement, and then he's able to dictate where he wants to go, and he just kind of push and pull technique. Let me show that one more time. Let's actually slow this down a little bit. I want to kind of show you guys the finish here. Let's just take a look at this in slow motion. All right, so he's got him, and then he just kind of pulls down, uses all that energy that the center is trying to hold up with against him, and just kind of slides by. This play to me looks a little bit more like an eagle front, I guess, because you can see both of the defensive ends are across from the tackles here. You know, they're playing more of the 5 techs. He's in the 0 technique. I just thought I would point that. I'm trying to learn the fronts a little bit better. This one's actually a little bit more outside the tackle, but you know, they're more in 5 techs than before where they're inside the tackle. You know, he's kind of got 2 responsibilities here because, you know, you get this rusher, which opens up the 2. So he's going to slide this way to open it up for the linebacker, but he's got 2 guys to go against. They really max protect here. So he starts that way and then slide back the other way. The best way I would explain this play is just relentless again. All right, he's just getting after. Look at him. I mean, he's just going to plow through both guys. That's pure power. That's dedication. That's want to. That's just, I'm going to fly through those arms and I'm going to try to make a play. All right, that stuff is fantastic, and that stuff translates. That's what coaches want to see. Let this play through before I even stop it. Let's just watch this for a second. Here he is. Okay, now I know he just literally threw 2 guys down. two big dudes down with each of his arm. How in the world does he do that? Again, it's about the placement here. All right, now look at how he takes on both of these offensive linemen. This is why he can both 2-gap and 1-gap, because he can do things like this to open up linebackers, and I think this is what the Lions saw in him that they really liked for early downs and passing downs. Look at this, taking on 2 offensive linemen. They're going to try to basically pull here, okay? So they're going to slide this guard over to, you know, kind of close that off so they can pull the offensive line for the other side. So he's going to try to take both of these guys on himself. Now, he doesn't directly impact the play because it's going away from him, but you notice where he gets his hands. First off, he gets the right guard right in the chest. Now the center not as well, but he repositions himself inside as the center's looking to block ahead because, you know, he's obviously trying to get the blocker. But once he does that, he repositions that arm inside. Now he's got both of the guys inside right on the numbers here, and one by one, you know, they're trying to get ahead, so he kind of just lets go and he slips and falls. And a similar thing here, you know, bad leverage, he's trying to move forward, and he just lets go and they both fall. That looks insane. I mean, it really does. He gets too high as a pass rusher. I do love this, and we're going to look at more examples. I love watching him try the spin moves, but he does get a little bit high. There's no question about it. Here he is. He's going to kind of work this way. That way the linebacker come and attack. I like how he has this plan. You know, he's planned this, of course. I mean, right off the snap, he's planned to go make this spin move happen. And I like it. You know, there's pass rush moves that could be added because right now it's kind of just bull rush. He has finishing moves, but it's kind of just bull rush and a little bit of the spin he tries to throw in here. And I like it. I like seeing him try to do it. So he's going to slide over here to let the linebacker blitz, and then he's going to try to set him up. But notice how tall he stands out of this spin. Now, some of that, you got to have better bend, you know, some of that just athletically, right? But he stands very tall to the spin, so he's kind of just spinning in one spot, and he's not getting anywhere. It's like when you dribble a whole bunch, you're like, oh, he's going through his leg, but they're not moving. It's like, oh, yeah, that's cool, but he's just standing there, right? That's kind of what happens here. He's doing a spin, but he's doing a spin in place. Now, he still gets after it, still tries to push things back, forwards and back, but the North Carolina offensive lineman is able to step right in front. So those are, when people talk about getting too high, that's an example, especially on one of the spin moves. The center automatically is going to basically open his base up to allow him that direction, and when he does that, you can see the repositioning. Look at the hand battles, okay? Alim McNeill battles with offensive linemen. He goes to battle all the time, and you see how he kind of swipes down on the arms, and then he gets his right arm back inside. Now he's pushing you backwards. The little things he battles, man, just like Tevin Jenkins. I remember watching him as tackle. He battles as a lineman for being relatively raw. Gets the hand to chest, now he's bulldozing him back. But here's the thing. Unable to finish here. So he tries to go to that pull down. You could probably argue this is holding, but he stays connected because when he pulls down, he's so tall, right? Because he's pulling out, he stands up. The offensive lineman kind of, at the last second, kind of just rams him, right? So if you can get a little bit lower, bend a little bit more on that, he might be able to make a play. Still disrupt the heck out of that play. I mean, just push it completely back, but it's the finish, stand still a little bit tall in some of the finishing there. And I don't even know if that's a fatigue thing. I think that's just the little things in his game that good coaches will make him more aware of, maybe. Of seeing stuff like this, right? Just hand battles. I think he smacks him in the face. I think he smacked him in the face. Hey, do what you got to do, I guess. But it gets nasty down there, man. And then, boom, he gets inside. You see how he repositions? It's all about getting inside. And right there he gets inside. Now he's bulldozing him back. And then he steps out, and he's there to disrupt that play. That is a huge play. That's a monster play from a nose tackle. You don't expect that a lot, but one-on-one opportunities. He can do things like this because he battles. He doesn't just stand there. He doesn't have a lot of pass rush moves, doesn't see the swim. You don't see, you know, a lot of rip. But what you do see is the battles. And it's all about him trying to get inside leverage. He understands that part, and that's why he looks so dominant, so disruptive. That's something that you can easily build on top of. And his motor on top of it to finish the play, continue to get after it, be relentless is what, you know, just kind of caps it off. Is the icing on the cake for him for a nose tackle. You don't expect him to have great bend, you know, has super great change direction at 317, but it's that kind of thing that you want, and you can't really teach as the player to play like that. You're going to get 2 offensive linemen again. They're pulling this guard out, so they're going to kind of slide this way in protection, pull this guard out. He's going to take both these guys on, and he's just going to work the split. You know, he's attacking, he's going downhill, which I think is going to be great, and you can see he just kind of makes this whole lineman lose his balance because he gets inside. He basically flips him over here, and then his other lineman, and I love this. Look at this. You know, it's raw, it's tall, it's not cleanest yet, but you can see the awareness. Look, okay, I got him, boom, I'm gonna hit him with the spin. If it was a little bit lower, this would have been pretty. Like from the linebacker days, thought it was a little bit smaller. I don't know, but I love it. He's like, okay, I'll go that spin, but you can see he's unable to get completely by because then the guard is able to react enough to get a push and push him out of the play. But you do love it. All right, he's definitely a smart player, very reactionary too. Doesn't have a lot of counter rush moves except for the spin, but you can just see you can see everything turning. I don't really know why I threw this clip in here. I thought I would just throw it in here. I don't know why, but you can see again, he's kind of just going with it and he throws him off. Unable to make this tackle. You see a little bit of burst. You see the effort, but he knew he was going to run him down. So he had to try to go make that tackle right away. And now we have one more game. Let's take a look at him against Liberty here. Now, Liberty is actually not a bad team. Stays low. Look how he stays low. Boom. Okay, see how he's low? See how he attacks low? He doesn't get straight up. So what that does is this right guard, when he tries to kind of, clip him, it doesn't move him at all. It doesn't knock him over. We've seen guys like Sewell, you've seen the highlights. Oh, he runs him over. But if a defensive tackle or nose tackle can stay low like that and keep a good base, that does nothing to him. It doesn't affect him. So then he just stands back up. He's low, great hand placement. Look at the offensive lineman's like, dude, I'm about to fall over. And then there he is. He's just watching. He's just watching the backfield, right? I mean, this is just beautiful. Just watching like, oh, where's the running back? There he is. Not the tallest guy, so he's got to have great positioning. He's going to push you back. You're going to lose your balance, and then he dictates where you go. That stuff is beautiful. I could watch that all day, man. I love it. We kind of shove the first guy off, not really much there, but then he gets this one-on-one opportunity, gets inside, and then there's the finish, right? Gets inside, okay, lets you run by, there's the finish. I'm going to get to the quarterback. Change the direction, though, right? I mean, a mobile quarterback, this is where problems are going to happen, but this is what you want. You don't need your interior guys to get sacks consistently. You just want them to basically force things outside. That way your edge guys, these Romeos, Julians, Brian, I mean, Trey Flowers, whoever's out there, they're supposed to finish these plays. If he can push from the inside and disrupt it all, sack numbers don't really matter to me for the nose tackle. It's just about pushing and collapsing the pocket. If you can do that, you're going to open it up for everybody else. If you get no push from the inside, quarterback can step up. If the quarterback can't step up in a pocket, edge rushers, it's all about bend, right? They're going to be sitting there waiting for you. So it's about that. It's just forcing the quarterback out of the pocket. Helps the secondary for sure because it forces the quarterback to hold on to the ball a little bit longer. It helps everybody. The sacks, they're cool, but they don't, it doesn't really matter that much. Offensive lineman literally smacks him in the face. This is definitely hands to the face, right? I mean, just gives him the push in the face. But just notice it, right? It's still early in the game, so he's definitely still playing low, playing with good leverage, and he gets that hand push, and he just said, I'm going to split everybody. He says, I'm going to split through, and then look at him just run after it, right? He's just going to fight and fight and fight. Still gets a little bit tall here. You see a little bit of a spin at the end, but he just love it. I mean, he's continuing to attack. The quarterback can't relax because I've seen linemen just lay there when they fall. No. And notice he doesn't fall a lot either, right? He doesn't fall a lot because he stays low, and that keeps impressive balance. So he's not getting chucked over that often. I've seen a couple, and that usually comes later when he's tired, but especially in early games, you're not going to see that. Here we go again. A team tries to pull a guard out of the way, so both linemen try to help here, and you can see he kind of just splits through. He's fighting. He's going to battle, right? I mean, this is a tough spot because you're attacking, and then they pull, right? They're in the position they want you, but you can see he fights there, and that's where you can get potentially holding calls. Go through a little bit of rip through move, and you get holding calls there just because they have to kind of grab you to try to hold on. That's what that impact can be. Here he's against the run play here. Again, they're going to try to check and then go downfield. He's got one guy. He's got his hand. Look, he's got his hand right inside his shoulder. So the offensive lineman has nowhere to grab, and he's just kind of working his way back and forth. Where's the running back going? And he's a big reason that got so congested and that it was forced outside. You're going to see this guy one-on-one if you're an offensive lineman. So here you're going to see some help. But you can see his balance is pretty good here because he stays pretty low. So that kind of chuck doesn't throw him off, right? It pushes him a little bit, but it doesn't really throw him off. Gets inside, and he's working through that swim, and now he's going to split. And this is just pure strength. I mean, he just said, okay, I'm going to push you out of the way, and then I'm going to clear his pocket, force a deep pass. I think they got PI on that play. But either way, it's not his fault. He did his job. Spin move. And this is a very smart, well-timed spin move, calling it to finish it off. But it's a very well-timed one here. All right, so pushes there, then this other guard's going to take him on, so he kind of wraps up. Look at the repositioning. You see how quickly he gets his hands inside, gets that leverage, then he hits you with the swim move attack. Now he's not able to get by because he's standing too tall, so the offensive lineman chucks him out of the way. But then once the offensive line follows him, he's like, okay, here's my chance. Instead of just standing there and saying I'm giving up like we've seen a lot of players, he said, I'm going to hit him with a spin move now. Bam, hit him with the spin. That's a very well-timed spin. Again, it wasn't quick enough, so the offensive lineman stuck with him, but it's just continuing to attack and attack and attack and relentlessly, and that will wear guys out, even though he wears himself out, fatigue, because he doesn't have an off switch. He's always going after it, so he's going to wear himself out. But if he's rotational with Brockers, with Pennicini, he's going to get after it, and that's where it gets exciting because he can rotate in this line defense line. That's why depth is cool because yeah, you could have 5 good guys, but if you can't rotate, he may be good in the first quarter, but what about the fourth quarter? What's he going to look like? If you got a guy like this that's always like this whenever he's on the field, that's when you get problems, and the offensive lineman is going to be worn down. How often do you see offensive linemen change? They don't. They usually stick with their same 5. You're going to wear guys down. Center specifically who are snapping, okay? They're trying to run everything offensively. They got a lot of things on their mind, and you got this guy coming at you that's has energy, oh gosh, you got a problem. So there he is again. I like this spin. This was the one spin that actually I think worked pretty well for him. He likes the spin move. I ain't mad at it. Needs to be cleaned up a little bit. I ain't mad at it. Boom. Sets that up. Oh, got him. Get there. Close. I think this guy has a pretty high. I mean, I don't know what people are saying he doesn't have pass rush upside. The guy has pass rush upside because he does the little things. There's things that needs cleaned up. I think when you say he doesn't have pass rush upside, it's because how much bend can he give to his game? You know, how much of that closing burst can you add to his game at his size, right? At his position. Those things are in question. But I don't really worry too much about the sacks. Yes, I would love to see you finish more, but as long as you're getting back there like he is, I don't really care if you have 0 sacks. Doesn't matter to me. The guy had 0 sacks last year. Doesn't matter. The year before he had 7. It's all about them kind of falling to him. I don't care if he has 0 sacks. But if he's doing that, it's going to disrupt. It's going to open up everybody else. Blitzers, edge. That's what they want. You got to be able to collapse the pocket, and he can do that. May not get the sack numbers. May not be pretty. May show 1 sack. I don't care. As long as he's rotating in and out, he stays fresh. The guy can ball. He's mean. He's aggressive, his motor is always running, and that will lead to certain things falling in his lap because he's like that. And as a run defender, he's very trustworthy in 2 gap and 1 gap. So I see the versatility there. So Alim McNeill, this dude's legit. I'm excited he's in line. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.